Mercy. Hang on, Sonic Tommy. There's your little sweet invitation. Oh, I misspelled your name. How rude. How rude of me. Well, just got back from the backyard doing a little garden preparing work. A neighbor down the street had a miniature bonfire in her front yard, probably with the kids, the grandkids or whatever, celebrating something. Anyway, there was a fair amount of black charcoal left over in her little fire pit. I gave her some flower seeds and asked if I could have it. So I went over. She said, yeah, sure. But she said, tell me what you're going to do with it so I'll know next time. So what I'm doing with it is the idea actually is a gardening technique from ancient cultures like the Amazonians. And it's down in Brazil and the Amazon rainforest. This type of black soil is called terra preta. And the idea is that you want to inoculate or energize the charcoal with some microbiology. Let me get this right. Okay, let's see. I think I'm rocking and rolling now. Give me a sound check. So you want to energize the charcoal with some microbiology. That means compost, grass clipping tea. Take your grass clippings and put it in a bucket, soak it in water, let it start to, ferment, break down, then pour, fill up your 5-gallon bucket or whatever with half charcoal and fill the rest with water, or chicken poop tea or rabbit poop tea or pee in it. The point is that all that charcoal has a billion little holes in it, right? Which turns out, we could say figuratively that the microbiology looks at those little holes as an apartment complex, and so they move in. So they move in, and then when you use it as a soil supplement, and like fertilizer, like compost, then it'll super energize, because I'm guessing that a pound of charcoal is just like a pound of wood. A pound of wood will hold 6 pounds of water, and I know charcoal will absorb a bunch of water as well. But from what I understand, the charcoal will hold water longer. So you have to, if you have, say, 10% of your garden bed with charcoal in it, maybe 20%. If you're courageous, up to 50%. Well, then it'll hold water longer. If you inoculate it with the microbiology, it'll start feeding your plants right away. And some people get 300% increase in yield using terra preta, and some people get 800% increase in yield, and that's pretty dramatic. So turns out that the Aztecs have been using charcoal mixed with some amount of pottery shards, some amount of bones, like animal bones or maybe even human bones. It looks like the Terra Preta sections were at one time like Gehenna, as we would know Gehenna, where they would burn the city trash. And don't think those old Amazonian villagers had any trash like we've got. They had a much simpler life, and their trash was easier to burn, easier to manage, not a bunch of plastic bottles like we've got. Hi, Dana.
Hey.
I love you.
Love you too. Trying to find my headphones.
So, according to the subject line of this show, maybe some Eternal Torment people will take the bait and come in and
what?
We'll take the bait and come in and debate with us.
I hope so.
Oh yeah,
I'd love that.
Uh-huh.
Come on in.
Come on in, you hellfire preachers.
Hell and fire.
It's such an exciting gospel.
Yes, it is.
You can't get enough of hellfire, I tell you.
Oh my God. Oh, I found my earphones. Hold on. I'm going to turn my headphones on.
All right. So wouldn't you know,
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, good.
Back to my subject of Terra Preta for a moment. Wouldn't you know, it would take an American scientist, a scientist, you can trust science.
Oh,
to
yeah.
Go down to the
Trust the science.
Go down, to go down to the Amazonian rainforest and take a shovel and dig into their Terra Preta and say, what is this, and come back home and tell us that it's charcoal. Inoculated charcoal and pottery shards and bones. Like we need a damn scientist to to tell us that we can go back to simpler methods for gardening and health and anything else.
Well, don't you love
I think
the guy from NASA said, oh, we would love to go back to the moon, but we lost that technology. Oh, really? Did we? Did we now? Did we just throw it in the trash?
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me started on these scientists. Thank you.
It's kind of like the new religion, science, because...
Oh, it is. No, it literally is their own religion. It is.
Because they have a lot of shit that they can't prove, but they are so enthusiastically pointing their finger at you and telling you got to believe this.
They'll skew their data.
Some friend of mine just sent me a meme. I forgot exactly what it said, but it says something like, they've got this Hubble telescope, that can now tell us what the universe is made of 1 bazillion miles away, but they can't even see the junk we left on the moon. If we left any. They can't see the junk we left on the moon, but they can tell you. They can tell you what's way out there in the universe, and that exact metallurgy that it has, or whatever.
Yeah. Whatever.
I've even started doubting. When I hear the news, people say there's 8 billion people on the earth. I go, who counts these people?
I know. So Ace.
And there's 250 million homeless people in Los Angeles. I say, who counts these people? How do they know?
So here's where I'm at. I'm starting to doubt everything. I'm like, are we even in the year 2000 and whatever we're at? Because we are literally relying on other people to tell us this. How do we know it's all true?
Mm-hmm.
If it's not recent, like within the last 100 years, how do we know anything is true? Honestly.
Right.
Honestly. So, I don't think you were there, but on my last live I did, I was like, look up the mud flood and look up all of these big beautiful buildings that existed in the 1800s, and there was nobody there. And then all of a sudden, the population exploded. It will freak you out, honestly. It's the video you want to watch is called "The Lost History of the Flat Earth."
Oh,
And
really?
it's about 6 hours long.
6 hours. I've got
it's
time. Yeah.
It's a lot
Look at
of
this.
detail.
I got time.
Yep, you do. And I'm telling you, there's some good stuff in there. There's some good stuff to ponder in that thing. And it will freak you out a little bit, though. I'm not going to lie. It might shake you a little bit. It did me.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I was like, I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know what I don't know.
Yeah, so we often, in our little circle of friends, we talk about our journey of faith. But how about our journey of doubt?
Right.
I don't think we've ever talked about our journey of doubt. And I got
Probably not.
Here's my testimony in my journey of doubt. I came in the 60s through the Pentecostal holiness movement, right?
Mm-hmm.
After a couple of years, I hopped over to the Charismatics, and the Charismatics were just as full of bulla as the Pentecostals. But the Pentecostals were blue collar people, and the Charismatics were like paper shufflers. You know, they wore neckties and they went to the office, right?
Uh-huh.
And but they were just as enthusiastic about divine healing and so forth. And among the Charismatics, I heard of all these miracles, you know, that about the blind being healed and so being raised from the dead, and you know, like you go to a Catherine Coleman meeting and you might expect someone who doesn't have a leg, their leg would balloon out, you know. I heard that crap, right?
Right.
And Catherine Coleman was making money off of us. And this was long before Kenneth Copeland and his clan showed up. Okay, Catherine Coleman was old school. Well, anyway, so long about 1973, I think, 74, it dawned on me as a charismatic in a charismatic church, it dawned on me that all of the super duper miracles I had heard about all happened 3 years ago or 3,000 miles away. You just could never verify it.
So you never get to see it.
You never get to see it or prove it. And it was just like hyperbole and hype that you would read in these charismatic little booklets that would come across, you know, like the revival in Indonesia. Well, where the hell is Indonesia?
Well, at least you didn't fall for the praying medic. So that's a guy.
Yeah, he's a Q guy, right?
I literally fell for this crap. For the
Well, does that make sense? Because when I looked at Q several years ago, I had that same feeling, like this is like 3,000 miles away and 3 months ago, and you can't prove any of the stuff that Q said.
Right. So this guy,
it's as vague as a Nostradamus prophecy.
What is that guy's name? It starts with an S. He does all the supernatural shows. Oh God, I can't remember his name, but he was on there, and I was watching, and I was like, oh, look he made that lady's leg longer. I
remember those shows.
of it. Yes. So I fell sucker for that for a while. Oh God, what is that guy's name? Something supernatural he does. It starts with an S. Oh, I can't remember. But anyway, I fell sucker to that for a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I mean, I fell sucker for, you know, a lot of stuff for a little bit in my early walk.
Was his name Sid Roth?
Yes, Sid Roth.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you, Nick.
So
he probably heard the same rhetoric.
So what was Sid Roth all about? I don't know much
about it. Sid Roth is all about supernatural healings and miracles and, all this stuff. Oh, you gotta. I mean, he's still out there. You can look him up on
Uh-huh.
YouTube.
Please,
He's
please,
he's a crazy
don't
cat.
make me do
But you should,
that.
just to watch that
Yeah.
leg get a little bit longer. Oh my God.
So my journey into doubt came along about 1973, 74.
Uh-huh.
And imagine my surprise and my thrill, because I remember I was Pentecostal, right? Speaking in
Right.
tongues, gifts of the Spirit, and then
Oh.
charismatic. Okay, so in 1980, when I discovered writings of Knock and the Concordant Publishing Concern,
Oh,
I was
you
so
discovered that in
thrilled
the
to see.
80s? Oh,
Yeah,
I'm so jealous.
I was so thrilled to see
Oh, heck.
any Bible preacher, hi Nick, any
Hey,
Bible
Nick.
preacher say that the Pentecostal era is in the past. It's, what's supplementing it now is grace. And man, I read that. I couldn't believe that Knock had the balls to say that the Pentecostal era is gone. And I was so happy about it, because
Right.
I suspected, I had my doubts because, all the tongue speaking sounded like gibberish or fake.
So,
And
so
all the
did you
miracles
speak in,
happened 3 years or 3,000 miles ago. I'm just,
did you speak in tongues?
did I?
Yeah.
Well, I did
Were you
something that I would
were
call
you
speaking in tongues.
gibberishing? Were you
I was,
gibberishing?
I was making it up, But I wouldn't allow myself to say I was making it up because, there's a lot of
Of
peer pressure
course.
that goes on in
Oh yeah. Yep.
those Pentecostal churches. In any
No,
tribe,
I
there's peer pressure.
I feel for those people. I really do. What's going
So,
on, Nick?
Doing good. So yeah, about the Sid Roth at Supernatural. I remember watching him a lot in 2015 and 16.
Yes.
That stuff scared the shit out of me. All the ones about the, near-death experiences that I went to hell and all this shit.
Yeah.
That shit scared me so badly because I thought it was real.
I know.
I thought these people were actually going to this place.
It took me a while to get away from that crap.
It eats you up inside.
Yeah.
It's kind of, like a tick. It eats at you.
Well, what's funny, I literally have a friend in my town that had a near-death experience. He was in a coma for, I don't know, 3 weeks maybe, but he talked about what he experienced, and I got the goosebumps. I mean, it was crazy, and I'm like, oh, this is so wonderful, and
What was
la,
it?
la, la, la.
Exactly.
He basically experienced going on a train with his parents, and then he met Jesus and all this stuff, and now I know, like, it was a dream. He just had a dream. That's all he had. But as dreams go, they can feel super real, right?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
But that's what he had. He had a dream. An
I
extensively
wonder
long
what
dream.
causes these near-death experiences.
I think it's your brain. It's just the way our brain works. Like Martin did the other day, the dream video he did. I was like, honestly, when he posted that, I was laughing because my dad just died, and I had just that night had a dream about my dad. Got in a gunfight with the police, assisting the police with a bank robber, and I'm watching my dad like duck behind structures and whatever to shoot at people. I was like, Dad, what are you doing? So it's just crazy crap like that.
It's crazy. I get dreams involving Jack a lot.
Sure.
Where Jack is there, and I think I had one a couple last week where Jack was driving the car and he rolled the car over multiple times. He
You
crashed and
just made
rolled the
me
car
laugh.
over.
I know. We just get these crazy dreams. But
There was one
but
dream
we
where I was
love
in Jack's room and Jack showed up. I'm like, "Hey, Jack, how did you get here?" And I don't know what he said, but he just showed up again. I don't know
but
what.
you know what's
Wow,
cool?
that's amazing. Because I had a dream that I was laying in a kiddie pool and Pamela Anderson was walking by. And she stepped on a banana peel and just fell right on top of me. It was amazing,
It was so
and
cool.
yeah, and we became friends.
Oh, you're killing me.
Hi, Logan.
No,
Nice
but
to see you.
no, but you know what's cool is that you get to, in your dreams, you get to see people that you can't see, or you get to have these experiences that you can't have in your waking life, and it feels real, and then you wake up and you go, oh, it's just a dream. But at least you experienced it somewhat, you know. That's my take.
So
It's
Logan,
bizarre.
there's the invitation, Logan, if you want to come in. We
Who's
don't have a
Logan?
real. He's a brother in the side chat. So we don't have a real direction to talk about. I don't have too much of an agenda, but if somebody wants to defend eternal torment, okay, come on, we'll take you on.
Yeah.
But I don't expect that
Oh,
from you, Logan. You can just come in and we'll have a nice time talking.
he's not an eternal torment believer.
No, he used to be a Church of Christ boy, then swung full atheist, and now he's swinging back to agnostic. So it's a journey of faith and doubt, all rolled into one. So my journey into doubt started in 1974 or so, because I doubted the Pentecostals. And then I was happy to embrace my full doubtism. When A. Enoch said basically that the Pentecostals are full of crap. That God is operating in grace these days and he doesn't need miracles to show off.
So Nick, have you looked at the mud flood?
I've seen some of it. Yeah, I've seen some of it about
It's pretty
those
crazy, isn't
buildings with
it?
all that advanced technology that was on them.
Yes.
And they just tore them all down.
Yes.
They're hiding
They burned
something.
them down.
These elites are hiding stuff. I tell you.
Doesn't it kind
It
of
doesn't
freak
stop.
you out?
It doesn't. Well, the fact that's what's going on now with the forum. I don't want to say it because it might be censored. And their little, great reset.
Uh-huh.
That
The
stuff is so
reset.
evil. It's unbelievable.
I know.
Just like what you said, it makes you want to puke and then swallow your puke again and puke again.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. What these people want is unbelievable. There's no way. We got to be at the end of the eon. Something tells me how evil these people are. But just what Scott said.
All right, so hang on, both you guys. Tell me what is this mud flood thing? Did it happen in 1850? Was it a lot of mud? I mean, what's the deal?
No. So it didn't happen in 1850. It happened. Well, we don't know when it happened. That's the problem. But the evidence is seen in the 1800s through the 1900s.
The evidence of what?
The evidence of the mud flood. And you have to watch the video.
Because there's a lot of mud, or there's no mud. What are you talking
there's
about?
a lot of mud. There are these buildings, these structures that are so elaborate for their time period, and they go below dirt. So
there's more under the ground that gets unveiled.
They'll have windows that are literally under the ground.
Oh.
And it's like, why?
Maybe there was a Noah's flood.
That's what I was thinking.
going to be on your live. You're on mine.
It'd be interesting if these buildings are from before the days of Noah. That could be interesting. That could be.
And see, that has crossed my mind. I'm like, well, maybe we're not that far off of the timeline that we think we're on. Maybe they lied.
So Dana, did they go inside these buildings and find what, mummies?
So
because you can still find mummies of people from Pompeii.
Right.
Pompeii could have been mud flood too.
So the point in their video was like, so they point out the structure itself, and that there's no population at that point in time where this building is, and then all of a sudden, like 30 years later, there's all these people there. It is bizarre. You just have to watch the video. I'm telling you. You'll just be like, oh God, my brain is fried.
Yeah, very strange things are happening.
Is it? I've lost my glasses. Is it Dana?
Yes.
I think the days before Noah were very technically advanced.
Yeah,
those days before Noah.
I do too.
For sure.
Levitation technology, 0 point, flying
Tesla.
aircraft.
Yep.
There's,
Nicholas
for God's
Tesla.
sake, there's a Egyptian hieroglyph somewhere in Egypt that depicts some of this stuff. Have you seen it? That depicts helicopters and tanks.
Oh yeah, yep. I've seen it.
That forgot and what's going and the evidence in India of these lathed columns in these temples.
Now you guys don't mind.
Made this stuff.
So you guys don't mind if I'm a doubter still, do you?
No, you can be a doubter.
I have doubts about this stuff, but what the hell do I know?
Well, hey, if you don't have doubts, then you're not thinking, because
and it could also do with the Nephilim. It could also involve them too.
Yeah, but
and the
that's
fallen
what I was
messengers.
saying. But that's what I was saying. Like, how do we really know what is real and what is not real at this point in time? Because I sure as hell know the Earth isn't round and spinning. So.
Yeah, and was it evolution was made by Darwin, and Darwin couldn't handle. He did that to go against the Christian God.
Yay!
We were doing really good. We had the algorithm completely like nutting up with Nephilim and everything, and throwing them so far off. We bought ourselves like 15 minutes of talking about anything we want.
Nice.
Have
you seen the underground? Have you seen the underground trucking? I mean, just the basic tunnel technology that they have there. They have these gigantic machines where men live in them, and a whole crew. I mean, everything. They literally are taking and excavating, and it's manufacturing tiles and they're using all the elements that they're boring, and there's no waste because that's being turned into cement and awesome. The tunneling is unbelievable, and then you've got a lot of reports of noises in towns, and you would see a lot of videos.
They're preparing for the tribulation, obviously.
Obviously.
The elites are trying to get away. They want to not have to deal with the last 7 years.
Well, and honestly, I think Martin was onto something when he's like, Babylon is an underground city. I agree with that completely.
It's Mystery Babylon, that's the thing.
Right.
It's hidden.
Secret Babylon.
Only the elites know about it.
But probably,
and I guarantee you, they got one of those fallen messengers out of the great submerged chaos.
But when I think about the Great Delusion and all this, but I'm like, where do we draw the line of the Great Delusion? Because there is delusion everywhere you turn at this point in time. Where do you draw
like those
the line?
Ace Theo people are totally deluded.
Oh, they're scumbags.
Right. They think God is love or something weird like that.
Yeah, they're scumbags.
Tell you, it just doesn't end, the amount of craziness. And my dad calls everything that isn't on the television, dangerous misinformation, and you're getting dangerous thoughts from the internet.
Okay, so here's. Go ahead, Jeremy.
No, I was going to say that it even gets more. I don't want to. I'm not. I can see I've been frightened of it, but if you just take all of the Bible out of it, if you take all of the prophecy, it doesn't even have to be prophecy. It's just like, of course, any civilization and government and power, if they had technology to create a whole safe infrastructure underground, they're going to do that. I mean, we're just seeing, and empires have done this. There's been tunneling systems.
Yep.
Hold on.
Totally agree.
There's
totally
a ferret. Hold on. There's a wild ferret somewhere.
I'll mute Dana. Oh. She's the source of the noise.
I don't know who it is.
Sorry.
I just wanted him to catch him without hurting him. but there's actually, all this stuff is normal. I mean, we don't even have to be experiencing prophecy and weirdness like that to look back and go, every empire has gone through this. We're just at the end. There's telltale signs when the genders start getting all mixed up and fuzzy, and when the whole role of the family gets upheaved, and it's really delusional thinking. There's no family system, and this is not shocking like a brand new thing. You go and study history, you can use the internet. I hate when people say, "Oh, you just heard that on the internet." The internet is just an infrastructure that goes into universities. You can go and see all the research reports at MIT for technology. You can look at all your major, things where they do real studies and read their white papers, and so can billions of other people. So that information is just out there, and you can go and study it and see that this is nothing new. Empires come, they go through these same cycles. There's fake money printed. There's a jockeying for power. I just see it now is literally static, controlled chess pieces that God has set up, that Christ has set up, and they're just naturally going to follow this, migration for power. And there's just naturally going to be a bunch of dumb people that have been dumbed down because the more unintelligent and take away men's backbones, they can rule them and extract more from them. It's just that simple.
Do you think the American Empire is going to fall? Sorry, I just joined.
I do.
You're in it.
It's going to fall soon.
Look at your price. Do you see that
No, I understand. I understand, like I understand the consequences. I mean, you can even see it through the Ukraine invasion, and it might be like a master plan between Russia and China, possibly. I mean, secret, conversations, some backdoor.
It's a sitcom.
I don't know about them really succeeding just yet. I mean, I think it's really up in the air because, I think geopolitics is so complex that we can't really predict what's going to happen.
That's a good point. But how much time do we give it? Because I'm sure. A lot of us have been waiting for this to happen.
Me too. Trust me, I've been there. I've cried wolf as far as World War III about to start a few times now.
Right.
And I don't do it anymore. And especially even now, even when it's now we're at the most intense, because it's such a different scenario now because, and they're right, even in the news media rhetoric, when they talk about this hasn't happened since 1945, a major war in Europe, and they're exactly right. And that's the thing, and when we're talking about Europe, we're not talking about the Middle East where it's these, unfortunately, they don't really have anything but oil. That's it. But we're talking about an actual powers that be, the European Union, the US, basically control the world. Sorry for swearing. But yeah, they basically control the world. And now that's started to be contested, and we're entering a different era. I mean, it's just. Yes, hopefully it will just stay Ukraine, but I mean, who knows? Nobody knows what Putin's moves are unless we have maybe the intelligence agencies do, but yeah.
Britannica has always been at war with Oceania.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. 1984. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, no, I mean, like wars are always going to happen, but like the thing is, not at this scale. Like it doesn't have to be this way, you know. And unfortunately, it seems that I mean, the thing that Russia fears the most is what is happening now. Like we're building up troops in Estonia, Latvia, all sorts of other nations, Poland.
And don't forget,
that's-
Logan, there was weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah. No, I mean,
and don't forget the Tonkin incident when those little tiny gunboats attacked a Navy ship and we had to go to war with Vietnam.
Trust me, I'm with you. Like as far as I understand, like the U.S. has lied to our public. It's on record, obviously. You know, to get us into wars, and that's the thing.
You know, the United States, it has an entry in the World Book of Records, Guinness World Book of Records, as being the biggest lying nation in the world.
What are they?
Well, yeah, that's why I don't. I mean, that's why like it's hard for me to trust any nation. You know, like even when it comes to Russia or something like that. Like, come on, it's like, and I just don't buy Russia's. I mean, I understand like a little bit about Russian history because I read a couple books here and there, and I understand where they're coming from when it comes to Ukraine. It's like they don't recognize it really as a real nation, quote unquote, kind of like how China doesn't recognize Taiwan as a real nation. It's their nation. Yeah, I mean, they're trying to upset the global order, which is like European and U.S. controlled for the most part, and some Asian nations.
But you know, I look at all this as honestly, as a stage. I think that all of these people know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly the.
Wait, do you think like everybody's? Do you think that everybody is like talking to everybody and they're like, let's just do this and that?
Yep, let's do this.
Oh,
let's do that.
okay.
Yep, that's the way
I understand where you're coming from. I just don't. I don't necessarily believe that. I think there is.
Okay.
I think there is like a Western versus Russia, China.
The elite control everything.
No, they don't.
You could totally be right. But
they don't control when I go to the bathroom.
They're higher than we are. They've got more.
No, the thing is, like, the difference is, like, at least in America, like, we could actually still have this conversation. I'm assuming most of these people in the chat are from the U.S. And we can actually have this conversation without the fear of being arrested like you would be in Russia or China, especially China.
Right.
I mean, they can't even do this type of stuff. I mean, I understand, like, trust me, I understand, like, we've done horrible things. The U.S., we're no angel. You know, like, I get it.
No, it's worse. It's worse. It's so worse than that. It's so
worse than that. No, wait. God shed his grace on us.
No, it's ultimate. I mean, what God is using, Tommy, what God is using is it is so much worse. It's actually not true. You're all, including myself, we're all self-regulating. What we know will be tolerated. I mean, there's certain things now we've been talking about. Each one of us have been pinging, going, wait a second, we shouldn't say that. That's not freedom. Mm-hmm. You have just been programmed to believe that you have freedom.
That is true.
No, I mean, at least
absolutely true.
I understand it.
Logan, you actually believe that your voice right now. This is why I hate talking about this. It's futile. It really is futile. We shouldn't be talking about what Putin does. These people, and I'll tell you why. Here's Putin. You just go and study Russian politics and go see how their corruption works. It's corruption. It's different though. The way Putin works is that country. But wait, I need to talk. You can't interrupt me, and then I'll stop and let you do it.
All right. I'll stay quiet. My bad.
Awesome. The way Putin does it is he does it just like his predecessor and his predecessor. Putin is nothing. Putin is playing the game that he knows that his dad taught him to play, that his dad's dad taught him to play. They're not the ultimate power. It's the people you never see and never will see. They're smart. And they've been doing this, and this is the way God has set this up. It's just, you can find it in history. So if you just look at Russian culture, it's silly to even think Putin has any say-so. He's just playing the game, so he is well taken care of. He has this big castle.
Can I ask a question?
Whatever he needs to do.
He's following his orders.
Yeah.
Wait a second. Okay, wait. Can I ask a question? Who is Putin? Like, Putin is taking his orders from who? Like,
well, we don't know, but because it's.
Are you talking about like wait? Are you talking about like a secret society within Russia or something?
Have you ever seen the movie Borat?
No, but
I would recommend.
I told you it's worth.
But it's different. Like Kazakhstan is from like the USSR that has like 5 million hydrogen bombs. Like we're talking about like real power here, right? And if you're saying that, what is it? Is it the Illuminati? Like, what are you talking about? Like, I understand like a lot of conspiracy theories. So like, just say it out. I won't call you a nutter.
Well, for me,
just say like what type of conspiracy it is.
In my mind, it's maybe not even the Illuminati, but it's the people unseen. There are controllers behind the people. That you'll never know who they are.
But like, how long has this been going on? Like, do you really think that they're
so
there was like people? So there was like people behind the scenes controlling Napoleon in France.
Yep.
You believe? Okay. Yep. All right. I mean, I'm trying to understand where you're coming from.
Yeah,
I'm not necessarily gonna agree, but it's fine.
No, it's fine.
I respect it. I'm not gonna call you names or anything.
No, it's fine.
I respect you guys' opinions. You know,
hear me graciously. All the world leaders, they're drunk. They're drifting.
Well, they might be a little high. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Tommy is on the scene.
Yeah, man. Xanax is overflowing. You know,
they definitely might be on some prescription drugs.
Absolutely. And Jesus is Lord. Jesus is restraining evil. Thank you. I need one of those. The queen is not reptilian. Okay.
You guys aren't talking about. Wait. Can I make this at least clear? Sorry, Tommy. Like, you guys aren't talking about like David Icke, reptilian aliens controlling things. It's just people, right? You're talking about just people. Like smarter people controlling other people.
Adrenochrome, all that.
Yeah.
People
so that would make more sense than at least like aliens come down.
So people like David Icke and what's the other guy's name?
Alex Jones.
Whatever. They're all controlled opposition, so they're thrown out there.
I would imagine so, since they're so popular.
Yeah, exactly.
Like literally, like why wouldn't they be killed off? You know, honestly.
So you're not going to be speaking the truth and be able to be out there speaking the truth without getting killed.
They're turning the frogs gay, and Alex Jones is real.
Alex Jones is revealing the truth. Remember him like going nuts on like Y2K. Watch that special. I mean, he's just a fear monger that tries to sell supplements, and he's he's a smart guy.
And so is David Icke. I mean, they're all the same.
Yeah, they might know, like, they might have like some of their facts straight. I get it. Like, everybody knows that, like, the banks, and this and that, and the rich and powerful, the corporations have great influence over everything. Yeah, no shit. Like, we get it. Like, we get it. Like, but I mean, as far as other things, like, they kind of go overboard, in my opinion.
Selling the truth has a bad reputation. It does. Selling the truth has a bad reputation, and
it does.
A man's got to make a living somehow.
You don't want to. Well, the thing is, people can't handle the truth, and the politicians know it. You know.
You know from experience.
I can't say.
I'll give you an ace theological perspective. I believe that the world at any given time is actually ruled by Sergeant O'Rourke and Corporal Agarn from F Troop. Now, Captain Palmer thinks he's running the show, but no, it's Sergeant O'Rourke and who were actually doing side deals with Indians, stealing the military payroll, and ginning up a fake war that they're in control of. But Captain Palmer, he thinks he's running the show, but it's just F Troop all the way, baby. And my proof that I'm right is I have this other theory that CEOs think that they run the company, but we have such a politically correct movement that I see that right now in all major companies, the goddamn HR department actually runs the company.
Oh, you're right.
You can't do anything. You can't offend that HR lady.
Nope.
She is 80 pounds overweight.
In the military, though, the NCOs are the ones that run it.
Right. So I actually work for MIT Lincoln Labs as a subcontractor. And the minute I saw a person's name and they say, I identify as she, her, she, her, she. I was like, okay, I'm out.
Get gloves on.
I'm done.
Get gloves.
They make an ointment for that.
Now, Dana, don't get offended, but I really believe that a big part of that, what we're seeing now with all this whatever gender they want to make up, it started with the selling men and women that they were equal.
Right. No, I agree with you. Yeah.
And that was the the demise of the family.
That whole feminism push.
What girl wants to marry her equal? Haven't you seen all the interviews of Paris Hilton and all that? Why she wouldn't get married and scared to death. She couldn't find anyone to control her. She knew, she knew that it wouldn't last.
No, I agree with you completely. I'm not offended at all. The whole feminism move was a tear down of the family unit.
Yeah, there's no one to take care of the children at home. You got to take these kids into these schools, and and then you got to put them in the daycares, which sucks up more money. The wives are not there to take care of the children; they have to work because you used to survive off one income. You can't survive off two now.
So
these people that run this world are putting such a clamp down on everything.
But is that the real, like, oh my God, like, the world's ending type of thing? Like, I get it, like, maybe slow moves, like, slow little, but, like,
no, it's,
yeah, I understand, like, your concern. I understand your concern, but, like,
how old are you?
How old am I? 34.
Let me see if you could even answer. Let me see if you're qualified to ask this question, honestly. Let's start with your age.
Yeah,
let's start with your age.
34. I'm still a youngin'. Yeah, I'm still a youngin'. I get it.
Do you have a wife? Or do you have a wife that it's your responsibility to clothe, to feed, to provide everything for?
Right.
Not anymore. Not anymore. But
you have, though. You've had that?
Yeah. I've experienced it. Yeah.
Not where she was, not 50-50, not the normal culture.
No. Yeah.
What about children?
I've been the only worker where she stayed at home.
On purpose.
And I understand. And that's fine. Yeah, it was fine with me. Yeah.
What about children?
No
Have
children.
you had any children?
Huh? No children. No.
I'm up for adoption. I'm an orphan.
You can't ask the question. Logan, I would say you're not qualified to ask that. I wouldn't get tripped up on you not having to answer that. Hey, when it was told that men and women are now equal, the family unit and each member in that unit is everything. It's what it is. The society. It is civilization. It is what you need to control.
It was a slow
is it really essential? I mean, sorry. I'm coming from, like, I think in more geopolitical terms, and I'm like, is this really geopolitically sensitive, to actually do that? Because we're still a strong nation. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you really are young, and I don't mean that disrespectfully, but for those of, I'm 50, I'll be 52 this year. For
I
those
get
of
it.
us,
I'm really young considering the audience, but I mean, I respect older people.
For those of us that are a little bit older, I mean, there is such a flip from what
We're
we
just,
experienced when we
yeah,
were younger. That
we're living in a different time now. I mean,
yeah,
it's
it's
21st century,
completely
and
different.
yeah.
Now it's just it is literally 100% flipped. So that's why we
I
are
mean, do you
talking the
think
way
it
we're
is like
talking.
do you think this whole thing is like is it, does it come down to the devil, or is the devil influencing this whole, like, equal gender, and
I have
this
Okay,
and that?
so
See what's happening? You guys talk. Everyone talks over each other. That's what's happened. That's a result of what's
well,
happened.
I have something to declare. I want to get in line.
Go, Tom.
okay, hang
No,
on,
wait.
hang on.
Ace runs
Hang
the
on.
show. He's the lion tamer.
Whoa.
Apropos.
Okay. Now, I first heard about the New World Order, the Trilateral Commission, the secret guys who are running the world in 1977. I was still in my 20s. And I heard about these secret societies in a whisper. Oh, don't tell anybody, but the world is run by the Trilateral Commission. And it was a big whisper. It was like, oh my God. Well, a few years passed, and now everybody talks about the secret societies, the central bankers, and the New World Order. But I put up this thing about gaslighting because it's still a real thing that people will say to you. If you don't know what gaslighting is, it's don't believe your lying eyes, believe what I tell you. And so I was sitting in Southern California thinking about the New World Order and how that they wanted to control the world. And I'm down around the Watts area, Los Angeles, and on one side of the street are the Mexicans, and on the other side of the street are the Negroes. And Lord have mercy, you can't get those people to cooperate. How in the hell are you going to have a New World Order when you can't get the people in the same neighborhood to stop taking pot shots at each other?
Yeah, yeah.
So
I mean, at least
it's
I
a
appreciate
ruse that they can control everything.
They can't control their bowels.
No, not everybody. No organization that can control everything, but like at least you did say that Trilateral Commission instead of just the Bilderberg Group, because the Trilateral Commission obviously is more powerful than Bilderberg. Anyways, sorry, Tommy.
They control the important stuff, the resources, the money. The militaries. They control the important stuff, the high end stuff, the stuff that can actually make a difference.
Tommy, go ahead.
Okay,
Go,
here's
Tom.
the skinny. God controls reality. It is a controlled rollout.
Oh, there you go.
Everything is on time. This is not chaos. If you have to pee, just go pee. It's okay. You do not have to like it. You do not have to like it.
No. I mean, I get like what at least Tommy is saying, that like God's in control and
God restrains evil. He restrains evil. He empowers life. He is pouring out his grace. And one other nifty topic that's not coming to mind right now. And God, Jesus is Lord. He has a plan for each one of us, for all of us, for us in Christ. He has a plan, and he is bringing it to pass to his glory. I do not like it on occasion, usually during waking moments, but I have been assured by God himself, allegedly, that it's okay. It's okay. Everything's on time, and it's gonna get better.
100%.
Very good. What he's doing is very good, and
I love it.
I remind myself of these allegations as I remind you, because I think the hearer has heard that God is running the show.
Yeah.
And all these rascals run around here, powering,
It's such a good reminder.
Yeah.
Hey, little rascals. Don't be
Thank you.
Okay, I've got one more. I've got one more glorious point.
Bring us back down to earth, Tommy. Thank you.
We can see the most amazing Bible story and Bible testimony about the New World Order when we look at Nimrod and his Tower of Babel.
Yeah.
That didn't end well.
That's what they're trying to rebuild.
No, maybe.
Good luck with that.
Well, yeah. I mean, how do you conquer God? I mean, it's like, come on, he has all.
They mock it.
He
In
has his
several
thumb on the pulse
statues
of life.
In several statues, they mock the Tower of Babel. Everybody knows about it. I mean, it's not a secret.
Well, yeah. I mean, it was yeah. I mean, it was written in biblical history. Yeah. So. But I mean, is everybody on here? Is everybody on here like? Are you guys all like what some people would call freak racers or universalists, or do some of you guys have disagreements with that?
Yeah.
Okay. I know Tommy is. I don't know about.
No, I am simply a lowly saint in Christ Jesus. Semi-immature, still young and dumb. Yeah.
No, I mean, I get where you're coming from, though. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I mean, being agnostic at this point.
Oh, you're an agnostic. So what do you believe?
Well, I mean, I believe that there could be a creator and overseer. You know what I mean? And maybe this God does control what happens. You know, I don't know.
So I tell you, I was a New Ager. A mere 6 years ago.
I know that's
a mere 6 years ago, I was a New Ager, and I just believed in God and a creator. I believed in reincarnation and all this other stuff. Right? And literally in literally one afternoon, everything changed for me, and my entire belief structure was flipped upside down, and I was like, oh my God.
Was it like a
sounds fun.
Did you have like a spiritual experience, I'm guessing, or
well, I had a spiritual experience before that. And I don't like to talk about it only because I think people will be like, yeah. But
no, I understand. Yeah,
I had this overpowering feeling of joy one day, and then about a week or two later is when I discovered everything I discovered, and I was like, oh my God. The first thing I realized was like Satan's real. And I started reading about that, and then I started reading the Bible, and I was just like, oh my God, Jesus is real, and I've been blaspheming him, and I felt so sorrowful, and I mean, it was very powerful. It was very powerful.
Yeah. I mean, I've had like what I would call spiritual experiences, but yeah, it's just hard for me to like, I don't know. The part of me is like, oh, that was just your brain, like my brain malfunctioning, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, to have such experience, right?
Right.
To experience like what I can only say is like, kind of like I experienced like the love of God, you know, the true love of God.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it was just my own brain or if it was real. And a lot of these experiences have guided me towards that. I went from like hardcore atheist to, you know, pretty hardcore atheist, you know, not believing in God at all. So now I'm like definitely open for God. I don't know. I mean, if it's the Christian God or maybe they don't even know.
Definitely not the Christian God.
It's not the Christian God.
The Christian God is disgusting.
No.
I know.
Well, you know what I mean? Oh, well, I mean, like, we're talking about, I'm sorry, I should be like, you know what I mean? Like the Bible, like what do you guys believe in like the sacrifice of Jesus is the way, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. That's kind of what I mean. Like, I just don't know if it's that or if it's something else. I don't know. I'm still kind of lost, so to speak.
So the Christian God, I want you to think you're responsible for yourself, or otherwise, if you're not responsible for yourself, you're going to burn. you're having to do all these flips and hoops and everything else, and Jesus already paid for
I mean, I
everybody.
don't. Yeah.
Literally,
I mean, I get that. It makes,
for you, for
Dana,
me,
can you see Rasmo's text here?
True.
no, I mean, it's but for real though. I mean, like I really get like. I mean, I'll poke fun here and there sometimes, but it's just for fun.
Well,
but like,
I mean,
I honestly
I
think that
literally, I would pick fun at the Christian religion because it is a hypocrisy at its finest.
I have a confession.
Go ahead.
I was a teenage partial cessationist. Yes, I was.
How dare you?
Spirit, would you like a demonstration? Would you like a demonstration? Anyone?
Go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
Anyone? Okay, hold on. Now I don't have my Holy Spirit 8-ball handy, so I'll have to wing it. Okay, but
go for it.
Dana.
Yes.
Your butt is itching.
Okay.
Scratch it. God doesn't mind. It's okay.
Okay. I'm gonna do it.
Wait. Was it Ace? Oh, wait.
No, God is offended.
I don't trust my discernment. I can only give you my discernment. It might be infallible. I mean, I might be right. I might be right, but
it's supposed to be infallible. If the Holy Ghost told you,
God's infallible. I'm just a lowly saint. And if I deliver a word of knowledge or a word of wisdom or a word of hope, inspired by God, it is done by faith. And maybe sometimes I bat a home run, and other times not so much. Not so
yeah.
We love you, brother.
No, I mean, really.
I have a testimony that F Troop is real, and of course it's anecdotal.
Foxtrot Troop.
Yeah, it's anecdotal because, but most of the Pentecostal miracles that we hear about are also anecdotal. But I was in the military in the 70s, and I saw with my own eyes guys stealing government property, selling it out the back door, going AWOL for a month at a time and coming back and not being punished, doing drugs, selling drugs, skirting the edges.
No, stop. No, I'm just kidding.
They were not an honorable bunch of people, like the propaganda says the military is the most intelligent and dedicated.
They glorify the military all the time. That's all I keep seeing.
But yeah, the difference is the thing is we're human beings. Like I served too for 6 years, and what Ace is saying is correct. Like we're human beings, and there's bad guys in the military all over.
Armies have always been that way.
Yeah. But I mean, of course, the propaganda shows you no, they're super honorable, that they don't do anything wrong. It's no, dude, there's major problems within all the services in the U.S.
They're human beings.
Yeah.
So for 50 years at Normandy, after the war, for 50 years, Normandy refused to celebrate D-Day because they were raped and killed and robbed by American soldiers.
Oh, my God.
But after they all died, just a couple of years ago, they had their first D-Day celebration because all those young people didn't have that experience.
Oh.
But the military...
That sounds like Marxist propaganda.
Yep.
Yeah. Are you working for Putin? I'm sorry.
I'm just kidding. I'm an agent for F Troop. I'm trying to recruit people into F Troop.
Wow.
War sex.
No. I mean, it really is.
I have studied war sex before, and it's hard to rape the willing. Yeah. And widows and orphans do their fair share of raping too.
No, I mean, the thing is, discipline in the military only goes so far, right?
Were you in the Army?
Yeah, I was in the U.S. Army in the infantry.
Okay.
From 2006 to 2012.
Okay.
And I served in Iraq and Afghanistan. And
wow. Okay.
yeah, I mean, like,
That's tough.
trust me, like, I understand, like, where Ace is coming from. Like, that I've seen it, dude. Like, most people just don't know the problems that go on within the military. They keep it under wraps for the most part, you know, and there's propaganda, of course, because that's all nations do that. But still, like, yeah, I mean, it's rough. I mean, it's not a perfect society, far from it, and that's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. My dad was in Vietnam, and he would literally never talk about it. You could ask him till the cows come home to talk about it, and he wouldn't.
I'll tell you what happened, Dana, that was swept under the rug in Vietnam. There was this thing called the My Lai incident. Where soldiers just gunned down innocent civilians. There were no fighters there. And it was a big deal in 1969. Some 10 years ago.
Innocent of what?
They were women and children and very old men. There were no fighters in that village. They gunned down.
Well, not only that. Well, the thing is too that, like, most people don't know that the unit that was involved in the My Lai massacre, they never even, like, been in a firefight. They lost their soldiers to, like, booby traps and whatnot.
Oh my God!
Well, here's the deal, Loken.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, this reporter named Nick Tersh went to research the My Lai massacre, and he interviewed the soldiers involved and the people that were the survivors that were massacred, and he ended up writing a book called "Kill Anything That Moves" because he discovered that the My Lai massacre was just one event, and it was all over the place. There were many My Lai massacres.
Yeah. That's true. That actually, I mean, from my studies, that's true.
So the book title, you can get it on Amazon. It's called "Kill Anything That Moves."
Wow.
No, I mean, they have, like, even you read the Pentagon Papers that was released, right? Big book. I mean, it's really great. I mean, to find out, like, how we just, like, accepted to get bogged down in Vietnam for almost, like, no, like, even though we knew that there was no real winning, you know, like, unless we were to invade, like, Vietnam, that wasn't acceptable politically because we thought the Chinese would get involved and the Russians, just kind of like what happened in Korea, right? The Korean War, the Chinese got involved, and we knew if we were to destroy the Chinese military, the Russians would have gotten involved with nukes. And I mean, it's the whole escalation thing. And then don't even get me started with, like, Afghanistan, because Afghanistan is like a totally different deal where we stayed there for fucking 20 years, and I don't see any benefit other than giving our troops some firefight experience. That's about it. There's no benefit for us being there, you know, for that long.
In the war,
I was definitely not surprised how soon, like, how fast the Taliban took over, you know, because I was there, man. I saw how the Afghan army fought. We fought side by side. You know, they weren't real. Most of them weren't committed. It was like 1 out of 5 of their soldiers were, like, true fighters, you know, but they don't stand a chance. Like, even at 300,000, they don't stand a chance against the Taliban. Like, they're hardened enemy. Like, they fought against us for 20 years. I mean, seriously, taking on air support plus our small arms fire and all that stuff, like, for 20 years. So it's not a big surprise that they were able to take the country within, you know, less than a month, pretty much.
In the war of life, there are many battles, many casualties, and few heroes. Even your war, even your battles. May we choose our heroes graciously. Yeah.
No, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not, I mean, I don't.
Who's the boogeyman?
I'm not about heroes. It's just like we were fighting for our survival, you know. I mean, it wasn't really like, it's a different story when you're talking about, like, maybe with this, like, Ukrainian, like, Russian thing. Like, the Ukrainians are actually fighting for their nation, you know, those are amazing people to have the guts to actually fight against.
Your battle was ugly, I think.
No, it was still ugly, but I mean, I can't compare it to what the Ukrainians are facing right now. I mean, it's just amazing.
I know.
And at least it seems like they're putting up a really good fight, at least in the beginning stages. I don't know if I don't think they're going to be able to last if Russia is, willing to up the violence, because the thing is they have the capability to just crush them like you haven't seen on the news yet. I mean, it could go really bad, but I mean, I don't know how far Putin is really willing to go as far as killing, a lot of people. You know what I mean? In the millions, we're talking about, not even in the hundreds of thousands.
When I was young, we fought East Germans. I was in the Boy Scouts of America and the private sector. And when I saw an East German, I saw a soulless devil. I saw them surface level. I saw them as if they were soulless enemy zombies. But my vision changed. And I gradually began to see just good old-fashioned human beings.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, ultimately, that's what I
Stasi uniform and all.
No. You're actually absolutely right.
I thought you were going to say, "I do, Tommy." I thought you were going to say, "Then things change." I do. But
that's the whole tragedy of all this stuff. I mean, they're all human beings.
Yeah.
Russian, Ukrainian, or whatever, Middle Eastern, U.S., whatever, and that's what that's like a big deal for me, as far as post-traumatic stress disorder and fighting against these people that were definitely weaker than us, and we dominated over them for the most part. There was a few times where they kicked our ass, but yeah, I mean,
well, I think people that have not served in the military or have served in the military but not seen actual action.
Most don't.
They can't comment the way you can,
Yeah, and thankfully so. The thing is, it's a good thing. I mean, most are I was in an AO, area of operations, that it was one of the worst in the country, where we saw firefights every day or multiple times a day for our entire tour. That was very rare. That was very rare for a platoon. There was only we asked that they talked to us and they're like, yeah, there's only about 13 platoons that saw as much action as you did in Afghanistan. And the platoon is about, with attachments, it's about 35 guys.
Oh, is
so
that
it's
all it is? Wow.
Yeah,
it's bigger than that. Okay.
Yeah, just a platoon, and in a company it's about 3 platoons. And no, I mean, definitely we weren't in the worst, but I mean, still we were, in the top 13 worst areas.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, yeah, I respect my enemy, and I respect the Taliban, because from their point of view, I mean, you just take the religion aside. I understand, people are disgusted by Muslims or whatever, if they, so choose, but regardless, it's, I respect my enemy, and especially how hard they were willing to fight against us, being the superior force as we were, and especially because, the main reason was because of our air support. Without air support, I almost guarantee you I wouldn't be talking to you today.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, the air support would always be able to save the day and come in just in the nick of time, before we would get wrecked completely, when we were outside of our patrol base. But yeah.
Well, I'm a DoD support contractor, so I enjoy talking to people that served, because it kind of reminds me about what I'm doing personally. for the military, and I don't know. It makes me maybe feel like I'm accomplishing something if I'm not.
Yeah, I mean,
I
know a lot of people have really bad opinion. I mean, within the U.S., they have bad opinions of the U.S. foreign policy, but I don't know. I mean, honestly, as bad as we are, we're no angels. As bad as we are, I wouldn't want to give it up to the some sort of Russian-China alliance. They would carve out the world like you wouldn't believe, and disregard for civilian deaths like you wouldn't believe in the modern world, in the modern era. I mean, totally different. I'm not talking about World War II. I'm talking about now. Of course, we bombed cities back in World War II, killed countless millions of people.
Hey, Dana.
Civilians, during that war.
Dana, are y'all hiring?
Yes, sir.
Are y'all hiring?
Are we hiring? No.
I remember the glory days. The glory days right before the wall fell, man.
Yeah.
Contract.
I looked in.
We might be coming back to that, though. That's the thing. Seriously, with this whole, I mean, who knows what's going to happen? But I mean, I think it's going to be bigger than most people realize. This Ukrainian war thing. So. Yeah, it's going to be really big because already just our moves, NATO and the U.S.
Yeah.
Moving all our forces into Poland, Estonia, Latvia, a few other nations. Yeah. It's a big deal. I mean, and that's the thing. Russia might be counting on that, and maybe they won't give a crap about. Maybe they might move into Estonia or Latvia. We don't know, and that's the thing. It's a scary thing. Then we'll be in a full-fledged world war, and that's going to be, interesting time. Because they can go all the way to about France, right? Germany doesn't have nuclear weapons. France does. I mean, I guess you can't go into France's border, but
did you see? There was Russia said for I think it was France and Sweden. If you join the NATO, there are going to be consequences to pay, basically. And it was all about them joining forces. So I don't know.
Wait, are you talking about Ukraine joining NATO or?
No. I'm talking about other countries joining NATO that aren't there now. So it was
all right.
Sweden and Sweden, not France. I don't know. I think it was France. I don't know. I'm guessing, but I know it was definitely Sweden. So it was a big deal. Anyway.
Yeah, we can't really. Yeah, I mean it's rough, and that's the thing. That's what Russia is kind of going against is NATO expansion, but I think they're making everything worse because invading Ukraine, if they don't just pull out, from their invasion somehow, it probably won't happen. But if they don't, I mean, it's just going to make NATO all the worse for Russia. Ultimately, we're talking about all these nations are not just the Eastern European NATO nations. They're going to be devoting huge amounts of their GDP, not huge, but I mean significant amounts of their GDP from what they were to military arms, buying them up from the U.S. or just making them themselves, which they're already. I mean, they've been designing it themselves. The Germans have they've designed their own main battle tank. Same for other nations, and not just main battle tanks, but just all sorts of other military equipment. And I just see it as Putin's kind of, I don't know what he's trying to do because it just seems, I thought he would be smarter than this, but I was wrong. He did invade, and it's just going to make NATO worse for him, in my opinion. because I mean, and just seeing from what's happening in the past like 2 days, they're still not even. I mean, they're pretty far away from like the United States conventional capability, pretty far away because we have a totally different doctrine, which is aerospace blitzkrieg, where we use thousands of fighter jet bombers and we decimate your military within a few days. And I don't know, Russia's still mainly a ground army, you know, and they've gotten their planes shot down all over the place, as far as reports go.
Well, I'm glad we got that all settled. Now, what do we do?
Well, I guess we're sorry. We can go back to like biblical discussion. My bad.
No, I don't.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how far you guys think, like, you know, Revelation or whatever is from like the big one. You know, if there is like going to be like a gigantic war, you know, where what is it, 1/3 of the populace will be killed. I don't know. I don't know where you guys stand at that.
We don't stand anywhere.
Okay, all right. Just wondering, because I mean, like conventional Christians, you know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah, they've got lots of opinions.
I mean? Yeah, they think there's gonna be like some sort of war that happens, right?
Yeah, on this channel, I try and keep us just into Paul's letters, and purposefully tell everybody, forget Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John in the Book of Revelation. You'll do a whole lot better, because there's so many rabbit holes.
Yeah.
What?
No, I was just saying, yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, because especially in the Book of Revelation, there's so many rabbit holes to go down, so many interpretations and, you know, metaphors and analogies and signs and wonders and symbolic stuff. Who the hell knows what the hell the Book of Revelation is about?
Yeah. No, I feel you there. I think it's probably one of the hardest books to interpret, right? Am I wrong?
And hardly anybody, Logan, hardly anybody has ever read it at one sitting.
Oh yeah, I believe that for sure. Yeah.
I've read it probably 4, maybe 6 times at one sitting. And I tell you, just by reading it at one sitting, here's the things I came up with. This thing reads like a movie script, like a sci-fi movie script.
Yeah.
And I also, reading it at one sitting, I don't get the idea that any of those symbolic things, those metaphors, those analogies, are any more powerful than the other symbolic things. Like, you know, everybody makes a big deal about the lake of fire, but they don't make a big deal about the 7 lampstands. What the hell is that about? Isn't the 7 lampstands just as important? Doesn't it mean something? But nobody ever goes on about those minor little details, you know.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, I don't, it's like, where do you go from there? You know, when they talk about that type of stuff and Revelation, like, I mean, I guess you can, I mean, maybe some people know, but I'd be lying if I pretend to know, you know. It's like, it just seems very complicated. And like, yes, some of the things, like, it might sound like, you know, like a major war and stuff like that. I mean, I think it's what they talk about, like a 200 million man army rampaging around the earth or something. I don't know. But I don't even know if that's the time. I mean, I don't even know if today is the right time for that. I mean, yes, China could have a military with like maybe 8 million something, but like 200 million civilians supporting the war. But as far as like an actual like 200 million man mobile army, like that would require like the entire country of China like supporting the war, and I don't even think they could do that, honestly.
So Logan, let me put a new bug in your ear. There's these 2 guys on motorcycles who spent a dozen years in China, and they did a lot of film footage, you know, of their motorcycle trips all around China. and they report that China is just as big a mess as we are. They report that there's poverty, potholes in the roads, and the only place you're allowed to film is when it looks really good. And they've almost been arrested for filming the stuff that doesn't look so good. And,
yeah. I mean, I don't necessarily buy into like the Chinese propaganda or the people that are like hardcore, China enthusiasts, as far as like how they've brought, hundreds of billions of people out of poverty. Yes, that's somewhat true, but still it's debatable how they did it.
And the dozen ghost cities, what the hell is that all about?
Yeah. I mean, I can understand like making cities when you don't have the population to fill them, because they just recently changed their, I think, one-child policy now. So now you can have, a bunch of kids if you want. So that would kind of make sense. However, it's just like they don't have the resources, though. The thing is, like, they don't have the internal resources to conduct a gigantic like campaign to take over like most of the world. In my eyes,
I'll tell you why they have 24 ghost cities or a dozen ghost cities. And these are real ghost cities. I mean, huge cities that are totally empty.
Yeah. I know about
them. Here's why they have it. And it's the same F-troop maneuver that the U.S. gets into in Europe and everywhere else, because F-troop runs the world. They don't understand that there is a government department of unintended consequences. Nobody listens to the government department of unintended consequences. So what China did was they punished investors for putting their money over here or over there. Like you were punished if you put your money in Bitcoin or gold or oil or whatever. But man, there was tax write-offs galore if you put your money in real estate. So all this money naturally gravitated to real estate. And so they built these ghost cities, and one person would buy an empty apartment just so he could flip it to another person who would flip it to another person. Nobody ever moved in.
Yeah.
And so it was an accident that caused the ghost cities to appear, an accident of trying to avoid taxation. So all the money went into real estate, and it just turned into a nightmare. There wasn't a free market at all, which is, I don't know if you know this, Logan, but one of the main reasons we have a medical industry that is a giant monopoly in our country and is a monster, actually, is because way back in the 60s, one of those damn senators got a law passed that your health insurance premium was a tax deduction. And so, of course, more and more money would go into health insurance because they could write it off of their taxes, and it created a monster out of the health insurance industry. So now the insurance industry controls all doctors. They don't even want to meet with you anymore. But in the 1950s, they would do house calls. They would take a chicken sometimes in payment, but no more, because the insurance company, due to a crazy law that made money gravitate into the insurance industry, now insurance companies own the hospitals and the doctors.
Yeah, to some extent, I agree with you. Yeah.
So F-Troop is sometimes called the Department of Unintended Consequences. So, and I don't think those guys are brilliant. I think that they're run by a bunch of inept morons.
Well, I mean, is that what you think as far as like the tip that like the top of the pyramid, as far as like the Trilateral Commission and others? Like, do you think they're kind of don't know what they're doing?
They think they know what they're doing, and
I understand that, yeah. But I mean, do you think
but
they know what they're doing?
They can't see any further than you and I.
Well, yeah, I mean, I kind of agree when it comes to things like that, because like if anybody is honest in like especially like geopolitics, there's nobody's smart enough to understand what's going to happen next. Like 6 months from now, we don't know what's going to happen because of the Ukraine crisis. Nobody knows, and everybody that pretends to know is lying to us, or they're just fooling themselves. It's just a truth. Because it is that complex, because we're dealing with human minds. Countless thousands of human minds in think tanks and things like that are deciding the strategies to go forward with. But I mean, I don't know. They have
one plan in mind. You will own nothing, and you will be happy.
Yeah, that's not going to work.
Not if they control the money. They control the whole money system.
But they control
you're
everything already, though. That's the thing.
They want to turn you into an absolute serf. And
but I mean, like, when do you think we're not going to be able to have these type of conversations anymore?
Not long.
Otherwise, we're going to be in prison. You know
let's see. What time is it? It's 6:35. Let's see.
They didn't even have to imprison you. They could just shut your internet off.
I understand.
People run the internet. You got to realize that they have control over everything. Everything, all the resources they have control over. They could shut your bank account off. They could shut the internet off. Have you heard of something called a social credit score?
Of course.
They want to bring that to the rest of the world.
In China with that. Yeah.
That's their prototype. That's what they want the whole world to be. Where you said an naughty thing, goodbye your bank account.
God forbid they implement the social credit score in the U.S.
Well, that's what they want. They want that so badly, and that's what this is. That's what's going on.
I hope not. I mean, but yeah, I mean, I won't be that surprised if you're right. I mean, I understand.
These people that run this world, they're psychotic. They want total control and power.
Well, yeah. I mean, when you look at human history, right? Like all the people in power, the power just grows on them, and they just want more and more.
But I always remember that evil always overplays its hand. Evil will overplay its hand, and it will get caught, and then some. Then they'll make some good thing, and people will go to the good, and it's part of the same thing.
Yeah, I just don't when do you think? I mean, when do you think God's gonna come back? Right? Jesus is gonna come back and just set this whole thing straight. I mean, do you think it's gonna be soon, or maybe? I mean, just a guess. I mean, I understand nobody knows. I mean, ultimately, but I mean, if you're just a guess, if it's gonna be super soon, or.
I mean, I don't know, but this stuff is scary. What's going on? The Great Reset and the you will own nothing and you're just a serf and you're controlled and you're a slave to these people.
I mean, sort of we are, right? I mean, I understand they haven't clamped down on our free speech just yet in
That's
the
what
US.
they're trying to do. They want to.
Well, I think unfortunately America has become the touching stone. And everybody looks to us as far as what's going on. There are predictive programming out there for numerous catastrophes. And 9/11 was actually out there way before I even knew what a predictive programming was, but there were it was everywhere. If you look it up, it was everywhere. And so there are all these different predictive programs now that are out there, and it's every day I'm like, oh God, what am I supposed to look at today? But the end all be all, I have to keep my grounding in the fact that God is in charge of all of this, whether he's allowing me to see what's going on or not, because he's not allowing a lot of people to understand and see the evil that is at play. But for those of us that can see it and he's given it to us, it's like a burden, but it's not, because I don't know. I don't know how to even word it, honestly.
I know how to word it. It goes like this. Come a little closer to the mic, Dana.
Oh, was I far away? Sorry.
Yeah.
No, we could hear you. We could hear you.
Hear me? Sorry.
Yeah, I could at least. I don't know about anybody else.
took my one earbud off my ear, so I'm sorry. But it gets to the point where it's like, what? I know that God is in charge. If I don't believe that, then everything is scuffle. But at the same time, I know God is in charge, but what are you doing? Because I am just a lowly human being just trying to make it through the day, you know? And it's like, where
I mean, we all are. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, thankfully, none of us are like deeply involved in this secrets and all that stuff. I mean, I wouldn't want anybody to be in that, but yeah, still, I mean, I don't know. It's hard for me to like be concrete as like I think some of you, but I mean, I understand. Like, I guess from like a more like, I guess I shouldn't call it Christian, but I mean, you know what I mean, like like believing the Bible perspective, right? Like God chooses the leaders, right? As according to the Bible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Romans 11. I don't know. Somebody can quote it for me. But everything is out of God, through God, for God.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, and then trying to understand his divine plan is kind of like folly for us in a way, I would believe, because we're just human beings, right? It doesn't even matter if we have like a super high IQ. We still won't be able to kind of figure it out, I don't know.
So for us, we are clay, and we're just built according to what he built us to. So, and in another place in Romans, it says, well, who are you to question the potter? Because the potter is the one making the clay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's always the thing. It's like, he definitely is the potter for sure.
So he's the potter.
So for the past couple of weeks, I've been watching on Netflix this dystopic TV show called The Colony. The Colony.
Oh, The Colony. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I think I watched the first season of that. Yeah.
All right. So I'm into a couple of seasons of it, and suddenly it dawns on me that I had this theory about the Department of Unintended Consequences at the government, at every government agency, right? They never, you always get instant tenure as soon as you're hired there, right? Well, anyway, I'm watching The Colony, and it dawns on me in this storyline, every major city is its own little colony, right? And you go outside the wall of that city, and you're in the jungle, basically the wilderness. There's nobody out there, right? But in reality, all cities are fed by the rural population that's outside the city. Nobody ever acknowledges that the city can't exist without farmers and plumbers and builders who are out there on the outskirts, way out in Satacoy, California, whatever the hell that is. They're doing stuff that is productive and it feeds into the city. But these guys on The Colony, the script writers, they don't acknowledge this. They've got this element of the storyline in Colony is more unrealistic than all the other sci-fi horse crap that they're going through.
But that's an acknowledgement to the literal truth that we live in, because there are so many props to the society that they could fall so fast.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like anybody that's like, and that's the thing I'll give credit to, preppers and a lot of conspiracy theorists, like, they understand that like how fragile especially the 21st century that we live in, how fragile it is, because like literally like all it takes is like, trucks stop moving and things like that, and like it's game over. You know, like without all our semi trucks, truckers, you know, it's game over for the U.S. Everybody knows it, you know, and that's just like one piece. I mean, that's nothing compared to like the whole, like, you know, the whole formula of it.
Look at what they accomplished with a simple disease. I mean, that's scary,
exactly. Yeah. Shutting. I mean, that's the thing. Like, shutting down certain things because of COVID in the beginning, like that was crazy.
Yeah.
You know, and
listen, since everything was shut down, I got a question for you guys. Where does one go to hear good elevator music these days?
Somewhere on YouTube that if you reveal it, they'll get shut down.
Well, thankfully, there's like a lot of Wi-Fi all over the place, but yeah. But I mean, still, that's like it's not a guarantee. And like, I understand that like there's a lot of really naive people out there that they think, oh, our society will just continue on. And it's like, no, it's not that simple, man. Like, seriously, like we could collapse, you know, like.
Let me tell you, okay, from my perspective, my dad took 2 injections for Moderna. I looked at his Vax card, so they were both from Moderna, and prior to that, we had been discussing it in length. I said, Dad, don't do this. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. And he wouldn't believe me. Regardless of the information I sent him, he said, no, I'm not going to believe you. So, okay, fine. So my dad gets sick, and all I know is that he's been injected with this crap. Right. My dad also had a blood clotting disorder. So, obviously he was still on blood clotting, you know, medication. So it was such a roller coaster. It's like, to watch a human being go up and down and up and down and up and down, I would not wish it on my worst enemy. But I watched him go up and down, and then they turn around and tell me he's got clots. He's got clots in his arm and his lungs. And I'm thinking to myself, how does one get clots in their body when they're already on blood medication, in addition to what they, you know what I mean? I was so pissed off. I was like, this is bullshit. This is all bullshit.
Well, I lost my brother Jack from those exact things. My brother had a blood clot in his lungs too, and he died.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to turn off mics if you guys don't stop it.
You're going too far.
You can turn your mic back on.
We know we don't have free speech in America. That's how you know.
No, we're still good. We're, you know, you don't got to be afraid just yet. Unfortunately, everything's being recorded by the NSA, but yeah, whatever.
I don't give a shit. I'm a DOD worker. What the fuck do I care about?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Grace. I love you, brother.
You're lovely. So a couple of years ago, I read this fascinating article on LouRockwell.com, and it was talking about a nation that's all over the world, right? And this guy made the argument that, you know, most people think of nations as like the United States and its borders, or, you know, a European nation and its borders. But this guy was making the argument that this nation that he was speaking of, and he gave it a name. I forgot what the name was. But this nation turns out to be the Highlanders of any country, like the Scottish and the Highlanders of Thailand and the Highlanders, in rural, Appalachian Mountains. He said those guys have more of a national mentality. They have a lot more in common than anybody who lives down on the coast, because down on the coast, they're city folks, and they're, subjected to the taxation and the authorities and the regulation and all that crap that's going on. And they never get along with the Highlanders, no matter which country you go to, whether it's Thailand or Scotland or the US, or, all of the people who live far outside of the reach of the coastal areas, like New York and California, they have a different mentality. They want to be left alone, just, and they're a lot sweeter to each other. And he called them a different nation. And I just thought that was an interesting argument, because when I lived in Isla Vista in the 70s, that's when the boat people came over from Vietnam. They were trying to get out of there. And a lot of the boat people that settled in Isla Vista, California were the Highlanders of Thailand. And they did not like the lowlanders of Thailand, the people who lived on the coast. They were bitter enemies. They would give each other the evil eye. And I saw that. And of course, you can see that in the South. I grew up in the South. And the people who live out in the mountains of North Carolina, Georgia, South Carolina, Virginia, they're their own little country. They're their own little thing. And so that idea goes along with what I just told you about my theory concerning the Colony television show, that they're just not factoring in how much the city folks need the rural people. And for Klaus Schwab to say you'll own nothing and you'll love it, he's full of shit. He doesn't know how the world works.
Well,
he's never had an honest job in his life. He's always been a pampered little. Go ahead.
I mean, but you can say that, but that's our plan. Honestly.
Yeah, well, unintended consequences happen.
And
people figure out how to run their own lives. They honestly do how to.
This Russian invasion is probably part of it. So where do we end up? Is the question.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody knows. I mean, we can always make guesses and what this means, but I mean, we'll find out. I mean, we'll definitely find out. I think within months from now.
Right.
As far as NATO involvement and stuff like that, or maybe Putin's next move, whether he's willing to actually engage into NATO nations. We don't know. We don't know just yet.
So Dana, I would accuse you of being a Highlander.
I am a Highlander.
And Loken is a wannabe Highlander.
Nah. I'm just a guy. I'm just an observer, man. I just wish. I know it's hippie.
Loken, I know what you are. You're Neo before he took the pill.
Yes.
No. I'm just I wish everybody would. I just wish everybody would get along, as corny as it sounds, but I mean, I know that's not a real possibility, in geopolitics. It
won't happen until Christ has set up his kingdom and he's about to give it back to the Father.
Yeah, that's the thing why I think religion, or at least some Christian, denominations are kind of attractive to me. I really do. I mean, I truly do hope for the day that we will just be at peace, and we turn our weapons into plowshares or whatever it was in the Bible.
So from what I'm gathering, you're surfing around, probably trying to figure out where you land, right?
Not necessarily where I land, but I mean, I've always been into when it comes into geopolitics, the military confrontation between nations over history.
You can still be there, and believe that Jesus rectified everything for everybody. Honestly.
Well, I mean, it's going to take time for me, you know, like, to come to grips with, like, God having a total master plan, you know.
Well,
I'm not necessarily like discount it completely.
Okay, along that conversation, then, if God didn't have a total plan, right? Where does your life fall into His plan?
If He didn't?
No. If God has a plan, where do you fall into it?
I don't know. Probably. Yeah. I mean, probably not. It's probably not that important, regardless. But yeah.
At the beginning, at the start of it, you fall into it at the beginning.
It's important because you exist, right? So I'm simply saying, take a step back and understand that everything coalesces on everything else.
Yeah, I mean, as far as like,
and some other guys on this call can probably say this better than me. Hey, Cade.
I would say that everything is connected like a gigantic spider web, or like the internet of the universe. Every little thing is connected. You're one string. It's got millions of tiny, really small strings attached to it that connect in many other ways in a very complicated web of reality. God's also got a very long way to go. He's not done yet.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it's just
not even close.
It's just hard for me to have like any type of to think that I have like any importance whatsoever, other than like existing. I understand that like God cares about His creation, right? All His creation, all the sinners, or fallen ones, whatever you want to call us, right? But yeah, it's still hard for me to, I don't know.
So Logan, aren't you glad you came over to this channel tonight?
Yeah, it's nice. All you guys are really cool.
Hey, listen, it's not more difficult for you than it is for any of us, because every one of us is going through this trial or this and that and that and that, where we're suffering and we go, what is going on, God? Like, when does this end? I mean, literally, I do it every day. And especially lately, because my dad died, my dog died, I've got all this stuff going on, and I have to work, I have to keep up the house, I have all this stuff going on, and I'm like, could you just give me a date? I'm done. But you know what? It is what it is. I don't know. Every day.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I don't. I believe most human beings in the world go through really, really hard times, regardless of whether it's first world or whatever. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. We all go through really bad times. Yeah, you don't have to live in like the Sudan to go through bad times. You can. You could be in America and still have really bad subjective experiences, and that's just a fact of reality.
We are in the present wicked evil eon.
Yeah, I mean, definitely seems like dark times.
Is it any darker than being in Atlanta, Georgia?
Wait.
In 1865.
Well, if we want to go back in the past, I mean, yeah, it's arguable. No, I mean, like, don't get me wrong. Like I view the the Eastern Front, World War II, you know, between the German army and the Russian army and the, you know, Russian population, et cetera, German population, to be like the worst war in human history, period. You know, as far as violence and death and destruction, famine, all that stuff. You know, not even including what happened before that with Stalin starving a lot of his own people, you know, through collective collectivization, you know, all that stuff. Horrible times. And then, then there's even the Jews, and there's even other things like that. I mean, or even just like the bombing of Japanese civilians in World War II. All sorts of things, man. Like,
yeah.
horrific things occurred in the 20th
So here's a
century.
question. Here's a question for you guys, or an observation. Someone pointed out that we bombed Tokyo, that we bombed Hiroshima and Nagasaki, but we didn't bomb Tokyo, and we never bombed the capital cities. You know.
Oh well, we firebombed the shit out of it. That, you know, we still killed a lot of people. Yeah, we didn't drop the atomic bomb on it, but still, I mean, most people don't understand that, like, our firebombings of Japan when we would use, you know, what was it? Not thermite. What was that explosive called?
Oh, it was called "Kill Everything That Moves."
It was like a fire bombing of their cities, right? And like, what we would do is we would take hundreds of B-29 bombers and fly them over multiple cities over Japan, and they would actually kill more people than what happened in, like, the, you know, Hiroshima or Nagasaki. The difference was it was one bomb that did that, not you know hundreds of thousands of bombs that would it take to firebomb a city. But still, we would kill hundreds of thousands of citizens in Japan, you know, to try to create like a firestorm, because that was the objective, according to like General LeMay of the Air Force. Like, we got to create this like firestorm, and we got to get it going.
You know, I heard his middle name was Bombs Away LeMay.
Yeah, Bombs Away LeMay. But I mean, that's the thing. It's like, we were very brutal. I mean, that's the thing. Like, we're talking about, in my opinion, the most brutal.
Wait a minute. Would you do me a favor? And don't use the word "we," because sorry. Yeah. Yeah, how can we say that Bombs Away LeMay acted on our behalf? You know, we bombed.
Yeah. No, you're right. It
was the nut jobs against the nut jobs.
No, yeah. I'm talking about the military-industrial complex of the United States during World War II against the Imperial Japanese industrial complex of World War II. And yeah, and this is the thing, like, most people don't get about me, like, even though I served and I'm proud of my service to a point.
Oh yeah, I'm glad you said to a point.
I still understand that a lot of things that we did were very excessive, especially during World War II, Vietnam, or Korea. You know, we didn't have to go there, but we did. You know, because
knock it off with the we business.
No, but you know what I mean. When I say we, it just means like the industrial, you know, the military-industrial complex of the United States. Sorry. Yeah. I don't mean you guys, and I don't mean you guys. You know, completely, because I don't agree with what we did either. Seriously, it was way too, even in Japan, it was way too excessive what we did. Even before the nukes.
Hey, Logan, have you ever read that little book by General Butler, Smedley Butler? It's called War is a Racket.
Yeah.
Butler was the highest decorated Marine general in history at the time. And when he got out of the Marines and had time to piece his life together and think about things, he actually wrote a classic little book called War is a Racket. And you can find it free in PDF form. And there's guys who have read it here on YouTube out loud.
Nice.
It's not that long, but it is.
I pretty much get it. Like it's a racket, you know. I mean, I might read it eventually because I'm into that type of stuff. So, but yeah, like I don't know. I'm different from most, at least from like my generation veterans, because like a lot of them just hold on to, you know, what we did was right, this and that. And it's just like, no, man, like it was just a lot of it was just BS. It's just the way it is, and like, and it's sad. It is extremely sad because of the people that have died that were your brothers. But you know, it's just the thing is, it doesn't make it right just because you know your best friends died in combat for the cause. You know, I just like there to me, there's just like no excuse why we're in Afghanistan for 20 years, why we're in Iraq for as long as we were, till about it was about like well, I mean, the full invasion it was we pulled out 2011, but we went back in just as most of you guys know, and we still have forces there on permanent basis. And we did horrific things recently, like in Mosul. To capture Mosul from ISIS, but to basically destroy the entire city to capture it from ISIS. And it's just like, man, like just because the news cameras aren't there, they knew they could do a bunch of bad things. And yeah, I know about it. You know, there's whatever. It's not much I can do about it, but at least learn. But yeah, I don't take that much pride in like my service as much as other people do, other than like I understand when it comes to fighting.
Here's a link. Here's a link to the PDF of that little book.
Okay, yeah, I'll check it out. Yeah, because I like reading. I'll check it out for sure. But yeah, I mean, because I'm into geopolitics and especially from like World War I and up till now. You know, in the Western world, for the most part. Yeah, I mean, I kind of understand more than the common person why we go to war. I mean, I understand like the conspiracy theorist perspective, but I don't know, whatever.
All I see war as is just it makes the big guys on top very rich and engorges their pockets, while millions of women, children, and military people die, and things get destroyed.
I mean, look at like World War I. Like, it's like the prime example for that, in my opinion. As far as you know, powerful nations like, let's just do this, you know. And it was just, oh my God, it was horrific, man. Like, it wasn't like World War II where you had like countless people at the front even thinking about like, why the hell are we fighting? You know, the Germans were wondering that, the French, the English, you know, like what the hell is going on here? But yeah, I mean, it's all the benefit, the powers that be, you know, the higher ups, the big wigs, if you will. And yeah, I mean, it's horrendous, and I wish people would learn. And that's the thing. When I see this Ukrainian thing, at least, I mean, hopefully Putin doesn't go super violent against the Ukrainian people, but time will tell. But at least it seems pretty calm compared to what I thought it was going to be, because the amount of actual like military force you could actually use conventionally against the Ukrainian people. I mean, he could have killed, I mean, just in the first few days of this, he could have killed like hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians. Easy. But I mean, I don't know I don't know the exact strategy he's trying to use just yet. Seems like it's very different from the conventional Russian doctrine.
War is also a rock band, according to Rosmo.
Yeah, well, that's interesting rock band.
These wars are just going to keep happening and happening until Christ comes back to the earth and puts an end to it. Yeah, he's going to have to rule the earth with an iron scepter to stop all this war.
I hope so. Really do. Somebody comes down. That's him straight.
Okay, boys and girls, let's wind this up. Cade, you're first. If you're still here. Okay, you fell asleep. Okay, Dana, you're next. Oh, there you go. Go ahead, Cade.
I was just going to say that I agree. War's a racket, and people will be talking about this forever until Christ comes back because it's just human nature. That's all. It's fun, though, every now and then.
Yeah, it is.
Especially to know that God is running it on like a risk board game. It's fun. Good night, all. Nice meeting you, Dana. Nice meeting you, Logan. It's great.
Hey,
see you later,
Nick.
Nick.
Nice meeting you, Cade.
See you, Nick.
All right, see you later.
Bye.
I want to say the next thing.
Yeah.
Love you guys.
Okay, you're up, Nick.
All right. I'll tell you, war is all fun until you're the one in that war and you're the one who gets shot.
Yeah, that's true.
It's all fun and games and playtime until you're the one who gets shot at. War, people think war is like a video game. You know, you come back and you get points by killing people. That's what video games things like Call of Duty, just more glorifying the wars and more glorifying the military, saying that the war military is your hero and the military is going to save you.
Amen.
There you go.
Bye, Nick.
Right.
Okay, you're up, Dana.
I'm sorry. I'm out of tune.
You're out of tune. Wait, what key are we in? What key are we in?
Just say you're all wrong about everything, and I'm out. No, I'm just kidding.
Sorry.
Well, that is the word of the Lord.
Yeah, definitely. The word of the Lord said, I'm done. I don't understand.
It is finished.
It is finished. I don't understand.
Thanks for coming in, Dana.
I love talking to you guys.
You're a doll.
Oh, thanks.
Bye for now.
Okay, bye.
Okay, Loken. This has been your show, actually.
Yeah, sorry, I kind of hijacked it. My bad.
I don't care. It was good.
I'm into the Ukraine situation, and I might start a stream up here shortly. Quick stream. Anyways, yeah, it was really fun talking with you guys, and I respect you guys for all your different beliefs. That's fine. There's no need to go nasty on anybody. And
we were polite to you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, everybody was nice, and it was awesome. And just pray for peace, I guess. I would suggest. I mean, I understand. Ultimately, it's up to God. Yeah, the way things go.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right. I'll talk to you later, man. Thanks for having me stream.
Bye-bye. Okay, how do we wind this up? A lot of crap going on there, and there's a lot of crap going on at any time in our history. And it's fun to try and figure it out. But from my observation, it looks like every generation goes through the same crap that we're going through right now. Every marriage goes through the same crap. Every individual goes through the same crap. It all ends in death. And that's the song that we want to understand about Christ's death and resurrection. The resurrection changes everything. It is our hope. It is our faith. that even as in Adam all die, so in Christ shall all be made alive. How are they going to die? At the hands of Charles Schwab? I don't know. At the hands of the carpetbaggers from the Yankee states? I don't know. At the hands of Brutus, if your name is Julius. It all ends in death. But even as in Adam all die, so in Christ shall all be made alive. That's what sparks a beautiful flame of fire in me. I look to the cross and I say, count me in. So there. And thank you guys in the side chat for putting up all these Isaiah scriptures and Psalms like Rasmo and EMC and Wildheart and Alex, Pata P. Thanks for coming in, St. Tommy. I'm scrolling down to see who else was in case I can say hello and goodbye. Hello and goodbye. Richard Whitmore. Oh, yeah. He chimed in on my F-Troop comment. Rhonda. Man, there was a lot of chat going on here. Anthony. That's it. I think. If I missed you, sorry. You have to come in here and make a nuisance of yourself again. Maybe tomorrow morning we'll do something wonderful. Grace to you. Good night.